I'm excited about this video because we're going to draw our own car on the screen and get it moving around using the keyboard. Now, just like we created these lane markings as rectangle sprites and these plants as circle sprites, we're going to use another type of sprite just called a sprite that is able to show images. If you want to draw your own image, you can, or you can use the asset library on PyAngelo. So the asset library has these 4 cars we can choose from. Let's say I want to use this blue one. Well, then I copy this location of the file and I can use that when creating the sprite. So how do we do that in our code? Well, let's stop the code from running so we can edit it, and let's create it just under where we created these lane markings. So let's create a comment, create our car, and I'm going to call our car, why not? Well, it's a great name for it. And we use a sprite, and then we paste in the location of the file, and we specify an X and a Y location. Now that X and Y is the bottom left hand corner of the sprite, just like it was with a rectangle sprite. So why did I choose 260, 10? If this represents our canvas, then we know that it's 600 wide. So the middle of it is at 300, which would be roughly here. And if we want our car to be centered around that, then we want half our car to the left of the middle and half our car to the right. My car is 80 pixels wide, so that means I need 40 pixels to the left, and 300 minus 40 is 260, and then I just made it a few pixels off the bottom. That's why 260, 10. Now, that doesn't draw it to the screen, remember? To draw it, I come down here and I can draw it. Now, does it matter where I draw it in my animation loop? Well, let's check it out. If I just do it here, before I've drawn the lane markings, then when I run my code, there's my car, but the lane markings are drawn after the car, so they go on top. So the order is very important. So obviously I need to move this car.draw until I've drawn the rest of the road. So if I move down here, I can put it in here, and that would be a good spot for it. And now my car will be drawn and the lane markings will go underneath the car. Perfect. All right, now we want to be able to move the car. So I want to check if I'm hitting the W, A, S, or D keys and then move the car. If isKeyPressed, this is the command I use, and I check for the key by using key_W, all in capitals. That will check for the W key. At every if statement I end with a colon, and then if that's true, I do what's underneath and indented. In this case, I want to move our car by 0 pixels in the x-axis and by 2 pixels up the screen because we're hitting the W key. And then I do the other keys as well. So let's try key A here, which is going to move it to the left. So if they're hitting the A key, then we want to move it minus 2 pixels in the X direction, 0 pixels in the Y. And then if we are pressing the key S key, we want to move our car down the screen. So in that case, we would do 0 on the x-axis and minus 2 in the y-axis. And then lastly, if they are pressing the D key, we want to move the car to the right. So we'll do car.moveBy 2 to the right and 0. And now I should be able to move the car up, right, left, and down. Yes, excellent. So one thing I want to change though, say I want to change the speed, I would have to go back here and update this to, say I want to change it to 5, I'd have to make a 5, 5, 5, 5. I'd have to change it in 4 places. So instead of doing that, I can use a variable. So I could maybe call it car speed, and then here instead of -2, I'd say minus car speed, and I replace all of these. And then I just have to create the car speed variable to hold whatever value I would like. So I'm going to create that variable up the top outside of the animation loop. And let's say I want it to be 5 now. Then I can just move my car and it will go faster now. Great. But there's another problem here. If I go off the left edge of the screen, what happens? I can just go right off it. Same with the bottom and same with the right and same with the top. So I don't want them to be able to just hide off the screen and avoid all the enemies we're going to create soon. So I'm going to write some code that stops them going off the left edge. Now how do I do that? again, let this rectangle here represent our canvas. If my car has moved to the left edge, then I don't want it to go any further left. So how do I tell if it's hit the left edge? Well, the x coordinate of the car, so car.x, would actually be equal to 0. So as long as car.x is actually greater than 0, then I'm okay with moving it left. Alright, so let's add that in. So if I'm checking if I'm going left, that's the key A, then I just need to do and car.x is greater than 0. So I'm only going to move left if they're pressing the A key and the car.x is already greater than 0, so it can move further to the left. If I want to check if it's going off the bottom, it's similar, but I just need to check car.y. I need car.y to be greater than 0. So if I'm moving down and car.y is greater than 0, I'm happy to move the car down. So as long as they're pressing the S key and the car.y is above 0, I can move it down. And the top is very similar and the right is very similar. Let's do the right first. If I want to check the car has reached the right edge, then I need to check my car.x. Remember, that's the left edge. So to get to the right edge, I need to add the width of the car. So car.x plus car.width. Now that has to be less than the width of the screen. And there's a variable called width that holds the width of the screen or the canvas. If we are going to the right and car.x plus car.width has to be less than the width of the screen, then we move it. Otherwise, we don't move it at all. Very similarly, for the top, we would look at the car.y plus the height of the car. So plus car.height. That would give us the top of the car, and that has to be less than the height of the canvas. So if they're in the W key and car.w plus car.height has to be less than the height of the screen. Alright, let's try it. Here we go. Can I go down? No, I can't go off the screen. I can't go to the left. Great. Can't go to the right. And I can't go off the top. Great, so now my player won't be able to hide off the screen. He'll have to dodge the enemy cars that we're going to create in the next video. See you then.